It is born of the air. It can appear at any time, any place. It is nature's most violent phenomenon, capable of destroying property and taking lives. And how you respond in those few awful moments will make the difference between life and death.
Where is everybody? Get away from the windows! Get away! Get away! Get away!
In the spring of 1999, a tornado of historic proportions swept through southwestern and central Oklahoma, leaving twisted wreckage and shattered lives in its wake.
It was like 3 747s taking off at one time.
I felt as if I were in a war zone.
I would describe it as basically total hell.
On the air that morning, I said, hey, one of those days, folks, we could have tornadoes. I think sometimes now you look back and think, I wish I would have said more. I mean, this is really going to be the day.
On May 3rd, there was warm, moist air from the Gulf of Mexico in place over most of Oklahoma. The wind shear, which we need for supercell storms, was relatively strong and getting stronger as the day wore on.
The jet stream was abnormally strong that day. All the potential was there to come together and for something bad to happen, and unfortunately it did.
Activity began to develop late in the afternoon. People at that time were going home. Many were home.
We had dental appointments.
Yeah.
I just planned to spend a quiet evening at home with my little puppy.
I mean, it was a Monday evening, and usually Monday evenings I don't plan to do much.
Thunderstorms began to form off in southwestern Oklahoma, probably around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. These thunderstorms developed into supercells quite rapidly.
At about 6:20 in the evening, a tornado measuring approximately F2 on the Fujita scale barely misses the small southwestern Oklahoma town of Chickasha, but destroys its airfield.
As we approach the city of Chickasha, we have a large tornado on the ground. It's moving toward the city, and a smaller tornado is rotating around the big tornado. The ground rumbled, the ground shook. I couldn't hear the radio inside the car.
That's been our biggest worry for years here in Oklahoma City, is that if something develops near Chickasha or just to our south and west, that the metro, look out.
This is unreal.
The tornado continued northeast through the small communities of Amber, Bridge Creek, and Newcastle. Though an impressive weather event, longtime storm observers anticipated it would soon weaken. They were wrong.
It had cycled every time, and each time it did, it would strengthen. It would become bigger, larger, wider.
Oh, on the ground again. The small little tornado I thought was dissipating grew into one of the biggest tornadoes I've ever seen. It's a mile wide, and it's basically indescribable.
By 7 p.m., the tornado had become a monster, an F5 tornado, the deadliest of its kind. In its path, a major metro area, and more than 500,000 people.
At this point, after looking at my map, I first realized that the tornado was going to miss Norman, that's just where I live, but that it was actually heading for Oklahoma City.
Oh my God. It's going to go right in that subdivision. Brake.
Go ahead, braking station.
Tornado's at 134th, approaching Pennsylvania. It's coming into the subdivision.
The commentator on TV said, if you're in Moore and you're not below ground, you probably won't survive.
Relaxing at home that evening with her dog Freeway, Irma Gonzalez was completely unaware of the danger until her husband called.
Didn't say hello or anything, just very adamantly said, grab Freeway, get in the tub, get in the closet, there's a tornado coming. You know, it's over 200 miles an hour, just do it. And I was gonna ask a question, he said, just do it.
Having tracked the storm and warned the public, media and storm experts now watched helplessly, knowing that disaster was inevitable.
There's nothing that's going to stop this mile-wide tornado. There's nothing. Winds over 300 miles an hour. You know what it's going to do. You know what it's done. You've just seen what it's done.
I know that if this tornado continues on the ground, as big as it is and as wide as it is, and it moves into the southwest side of Oklahoma City, it's going to be a really ugly scene.
And there was a terrible, terrible wrenching sound when the roof, attic and all that came off. It was like it twisted it.
I said, I love you, Mac, and he said, I love you, Delayed.
You heard debris from other houses crashing into our house.
Gust of wind just took my dog out of my arms, and I tried to reach up to retrieve him. When a gust of wind got under me, it took my dog one way and it threw me across the street over to the west. I got up and the air was so thick, it was so still. No cars, no birds, no people. I was thanking God that if He had to take me, thanked Him for my husband and the kind of life that He had given me. That's all I could think of.
In the aftermath, the May 3rd Oklahoma tornado outbreak was ranked the most costly in U.S. history, with more than $1 billion in damage. But its human impact will endure forever, both for the family, friends, and neighbors of the 47 people who perished, and for those trying to put their lives back together.
I can't say I'll be better in a year. Like I said, there's a part of me that will never come back, and I don't think I will ever forget what I have been through.
May 3rd was the most destructive tornado that I've ever seen in 25 years of storm chasing. I don't want to ever see that again in my lifetime.
Tornado, Surviving the Fury, will return in a moment.